Hi, everybody. Dan Ullman, Matt Bernier, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Thursday, September the 14th. It's closing day at Kentucky Downs. Two nice stakes races. But as for our race of the day, we're going to take a look at the 9th. It is the Ramsey Farm Stakes at 1 mile and 5/16. For fillies and mares, $350,000 is the purse. Head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download free Formulator past performances and handicap along with us as we take this field in post-position order. And there's a good chance that the Kentucky Downs turf course will be on the wet side as we get some of the remnants from Hurricane Irma.
Factor that in when you go through. Look for horses that obviously have had success or run at Kentucky Downs in the past, and then particularly horses that have done all right with a little bit of cut in the ground.
Brad Cox bookends the field with a couple of sharp horses, the 1 Sister Blues, the 11 La Piba. Let's begin with Sister Blues, who has reeled off 3 consecutive victories, including a stakes score at Louisiana Downs last time out, and you have to respect her tactical speed.
Yeah, you figure she's going to be forwardly placed. I don't think there's a ton of early speed in this race, so that's going to work to her advantage. The runner-up that day came back to win next out with an 83. I happen to look at this filly and say, or mare at this point, I think she's a little bit overmatched as far as class is concerned.
I agree. Needs to step it up a little bit, especially from a class and figure standpoint. The 2 Tricky Escape, I thought, found a really nice spot last time out in the Grade 3 Violet Stakes, and she even exceeded my expectations because there was no pace whatsoever, and Chris DiCarlo was sort of in a tight spot going into the first turn, and the next thing you know, Tricky Escape is well off a slow pace. After that, DiCarlo gave this filly a very nice ride. She was able to get it done. Her figs on turf are solid.
Yeah, good call from you last time in the Violet. She panned out there at 5-1. I have to be honest with you, she hasn't done anything wrong in each of those past 2 turf starts. Draw a line through that run 2 back because it came off the grass. From a time form standpoint, she has a 123. That's the highest last out rating in the field. If she handles the distance and if she handles this sort of, you got a couple horses in here that are the horses to beat. You can make the case that she's on the short list of contenders.
But it's all about, will she handle this configuration? Because horses for courses seem to do very, very well at Kentucky Downs. And let's just lead right into the number 3 Page, who was second in the Kentucky Downs Ladies Marathon at 30-1 last year, easily outrunning her odds. That was a big performance where she was on the engine, made 2 moves. She's come back in 2017. She's only run a few times. I've been a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, she hasn't really gotten back to her best races from last year, but I have to be honest, her best race last year was in this race here, or at least this racetrack anyway, and it was a very, very bizarre effort because she was forward, she had to steady a little bit, all of a sudden she's 5 lengths off the pace, and then she makes another run. I have to use her just simply because she's run well enough at the track in the past. I don't think she's the likeliest win candidate, but I use her underneath.
I had hoped that she would be turning the corner 2 starts back in the very one at Gulfstream, where she was in against a very sharp Suffused at that point in time, and wasn't that embarrassed at all, but that race proceeded a layoff. She came back, it was a little dull at Delaware last time. Perhaps getting back to Kentucky Downs will be just what the doctor ordered. The number 4 Kitten's Roar is the horse to beat, dropping in class out of the Beverly D, going out for Michael Maker, a prior winner at Kentucky Downs, and a positive formulator fact for Michael Maker to boot. Over the past 2 years, with second off the layoff turf routers in non-graded stakes races restricted to 3 and up, listen, 40%, 356. Everything pretty much stands out for Kitten's Roar, speed figure, class, trainer.
Yeah, she checks all the boxes. Not only is she getting the class relief, and not only is she fast enough, she has Mike Maker, she has Jose Ortiz, and by the way, what's the name of this race? It's Ramsey Farm, owned by Ken and Sarah Ramsey.
So Kitten's Roar, a 2-1 on the morning line, is the horse to beat. Perhaps we'll put a ring around her. Quiet Business, 3 starts back, won the Bewitch, going 1.5 miles, and she really seems to excel at these longer distances. She ran well in the Kirtana, 2 starts back. What happened last time out in the River Memories? Was it simply a situation where she didn't get any kind of pace, and that was a pretty good race? Estrachada came out of it to win the Weah.
I think she was exposed that day because you go through and look at the races 2 and 3 starts back, the Kirtana, but particularly the Bewitch. The Bewitch was a race, and we'll talk about Daring Duchess momentarily. Daring Duchess has 0 excuse. She was out there by herself. She had the easiest of leads, and she still couldn't finish. And this was a horse that was trying that sort of class and that distance for the first time, and it seemed like an odd result. They come back next out in the Kirtana, they swap places, but it's still, to me, it's not a positive that those two just kind of traded blows in those 2 races. I don't think she's quite this good. I think she's a notch below.
Well, Queen Blossom is winless in North America. Can you make the case that she is slowly rounding into good form? Her most recent start at Saratoga was at 1.5 miles, and she took on a filly named Grateful, a filly that I know you like and I know you needed, and she ran so well when went second in the Grade 3 Glens Falls in her subsequent start. She earned a 99 Beyer speed figure that day. I think Queen Blossom is slowly coming to hand, and there should be a forward move. She's pretty lightly raced.
There should be a forward move, and I think she may be the one. If you do get some really boggy conditions, I think she's the one that's going to relish it. You look at her 2 victories overseas. They came over soft ground. We know soft ground over there. Here might as well be a complete bog. I think she would really appreciate that. Second off the bench, no reason to think there's not a forward move.
Place des Vosges just missed against Responsible for Love last time out at Del Mar, going 1 3/8 miles. I thought it was a really solid performance for a mare that seems to show up each and every time. My main concern is they've tried this trick before at Kentucky Downs, and she just seemed to run a little bit below form. Maybe she prefers those harder turf courses in Southern California.
Yeah, you know, like you say, she just doesn't seem to run that well here over Kentucky Downs. I also question overall her want or her desire to beat you. I know that she has won 4 times, but 7 times second, 4 times third from a handful of starts, 27 lifetime. It's just she's the kind of horse that if I'm using her, underneath only.
Let's take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector for the Ramsey Farm Stakes, and we can disagree with the pace projector. I don't think the 11 La Piba is going to make the lead in here. I think that the number 8 Daring Duchess, who's in 4th position in our Timeform U.S. pace projector, is going to make the front. She has done very well in the past when able to get to the lead in these longer distance races. Last time out, she pushed the pace in the Modesty Handicap, a race that featured a very talented runner in Dona Bruja.
Yeah, she ran into some better horses last time out, and I don't want to hold that against her, but very similar to what we talked about with Quiet Business. Now I go back to that 2 and 3 starts back, the 2 of them, they've just traded blows back and forth. If I don't like one, it's kind of difficult for me to like the other. The one thing I will say about Daring Duchess, I agree with you, she's going to be forwardly placed.
Also owned by the Ramseys, trained by Michael Maker, and they might try to steal this one with Daring Duchess. The number 9 is Sweet Tapper, who was beaten at odds on last time out at Canterbury. That was pretty disappointing. The win 2 starts back against stakes competition was good, and perhaps most importantly, it came over a good turf course. Plus, the mare she beat, Insta Irma, came back and ran surprisingly well in Southern California.
Yeah, she ran really well first time out for Richard Baltus. There's just this filly, I'm not entirely sure where she fits. I think she may be a little bit class compromised, and you also look at her from a speed figure standpoint. She's going to need to improve, maybe not a ton, but she's going to need to improve.
Got a Chance to Dance might be a very wise claim, because here's a graded stakes place daughter of English Channel. They were able to get her for 50. She might make a nice broodmare down the road. The question is, A, was she ever really this kind of a horse? And B, at this point of her career, is she this kind of a horse right now?
The only thing that I'll give her the benefit of the doubt for, or at least give her another opportunity to maybe get brave here, is the distance. Because I think the distance here, I know it's only 1.5/16, but I feel like it plays a lot longer than that. And you look at her best races, they have come when she's been going 1 3/8, 1.5 miles, as opposed to those most recent 1 16, mile, 1 1/4 even. I think the distance works to her advantage. I don't know if she's quite this good.
Let's take a look at our top selections for our race of the day, the Ramsey Farm Stakes. You like Kitten's Roar. Her merits are obvious, but I'm interested in your thoughts on the 11 La Piba. This is a great unknown from a distance standpoint. I mean, she is stretching all the way out. Her most recent run at Mountaineer Park featured such a wonderful ride from Corey Lannery, who it looked like on the far turn was going to have to go very wide, and said, you know, I like the rail. The rail works out for me. Altered course very shrewdly back to the inside. And then La Piba did the rest, basically in ridden out fashion, coming and getting a loose late leader. It was a fast race from a buyer's standpoint. She's going to have to step it up again in class and especially in distance. This is a situation where I trust a sharp trainer, and she's 8-1 on the line.
I was going to say, I think the good thing that you have going for you, not only is she sharp, but she's going out for high-profile connections that know how to get a horse to win a race like this. I don't think the distance is going to be a problem, but you're right. Until they do it, you don't really know. And not only are you dealing with additional distance, you're dealing with it at an odd configuration to Kentucky Downs. So there's a lot of things that you got to be sort of questioning. I'm 100% with you. I'm going to be stunned if she's on the lead. I think she's going to be probably 2 or 3 lengths off at the very minimum, if not more than that. But I think she's got a giant chance in here. I'm using her underneath.
But Kitten's Roar is very, very logical. She is your top pick. Give me numbers.
4, 11, 2, 3.
11, 4, 2, 8 for me in the $350,000 Ramsey Farm Stakes. If you are playing the closing day Kentucky Downs card from home, you still can sign up to DRF Bets and access a 10% win place takeout on 10 tracks for another day or so. Plus, get a $300 cash bonus. You can learn more at drf.com/take10. Approximate post time for the Ramsey Farm, 5:14 Central. Best of luck.